We'd like to welcome y'all all to the Stay Talking Ish podcast show. This is your host, Mr. Barksdale.
And Gus, back to the technical expert, getting my work on.
Yeah. Before we get into this episode of the Stay Talking Ish podcast show, I definitely want to give a shout out to Big Bad Radio. You know, for everybody that is a faithful and loyal listener, and even you new listeners, we got an internet radio show that comes on Fridays from 6 to 8 on Big Bad Radio. You can download the app to your smartphone or your iPhone. You know, show us some love, give us some feedback. We doing this from the muscle, you know, so we definitely need all the love, you know, and you finally get to hear more from Gus because he ain't the technical savant in there, though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Now I ain't got no excuse.
Yeah, no excuses. You know, shout out to me. You know, my born day is tomorrow, and all the Libra gang. It's Libra season. You know, we gonna milk this cow to October 22nd. So, you know, everybody that's a Libra, fall in line and let's celebrate accordingly. So, Gus, what we talking about today, bro?
I mean, unfortunately, man, you know, a couple months, well, it's about 6 months ago, we did a episode about police shootings.
Oh, we back on that?
Unfortunately, they still shooting motherfuckers.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I thought it might, you know, maybe the protest back then was gonna,
I saw
lessen the incidents.
I saw the incident with I think his name is like Terrence. Last name start with a C. I'm not familiar with how to pronounce it.
It's Crutcher.
Terrence Crutcher. That was the guy where his car broke down and the female officer shot him.
And the dumbest thing he ever did was call the cops.
Yes, so it seems. Yeah, and you know,
word to the wise,
don't call the cops.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say the one thing I do respect about the officer that shot him, though people might not understand my logic in this, I respect that she admitted that she shot him because she was scared of him.
Well, that's what they got to say, right?
No,
they got to be fearful for their life.
A lot of officers is shooting innocent black people and then trying to make it seem like the black person had did something against the law or did something that was egregious that warranted them losing their life. At least this officer's just saying, listen, I was scared, I was super scared of him, and I shot him.
Oh, wait till her
and they charged her with first degree manslaughter. So I mean, I don't know if she's going to actually be found guilty, or if she's found guilty, I don't know if they going hashtag roofer.
I think that the max is what, 4 or 5 years.
Nah, the max is like 40, and the minimum is 4 years. It's 40. It's 4 to 40 years.
She's gonna get like 4 with like
Well, they have her under arrest now,
sentence, and she's out on bail.
Oh, she's out on bail. Well, you know,
she's out on bail.
If she was smart, she would fight the case from the jail because they probably would give her time served by the time this whole thing blows over.
They'll find a way.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they'll send her away for a couple months and then, you know, they'll be like to jail.
House arrest. Yeah. Just bring her home on house arrest on manslaughter charges.
I'd be surprised if she does 30 days.
You know, the way this world been going, Gus, I'll be surprised if she did 30 days too. You know.
I mean, honestly, man, I'm just...
So, Gus, what else? So, I'm understanding that there was another person shot in Baltimore.
It was North Carolina.
Okay, so we got another shooting in North Carolina. I know they've been rioting down there. No, let me rephrase that. They've been protesting down there. And
they've been kind of rioting.
Rioting as well, to the extent of Baltimore, or just, you know.
I mean, they burnt up some shit, flipped over some cars, you know, average shit. I think somebody got killed. They were saying it was another citizen who killed somebody else. I'm not really sure why. Mm-hmm. But they've been doing their thing.
I'm not opposed to the protesting and the rioting, but I just feel like when you do all of this, do you stop when someone gets killed? Do you stop when the National Guard and everybody is called? Or is this a revolt that's going to keep going until, you know, our people have to be massacred on television? I think all of this scares me a little bit, Gus. I got to be quite honest. It scares me a lot. And not so much fearful of the police and their reactions to the reaction of the black community, but honestly, Gus, you know, and this might get us sought out and murdered by Illuminati when I say this. But I really think that all of this is like a crazy government plot, bro.
Well, some people, one of the theories is that it's a way to get a federal police force as opposed to local governments.
Yeah, and once you get a federal police force, then you moving into the new world order where states don't police themselves, local communities don't police themselves. Everybody's answering to one police force and one law.
So what they're going to say is, local police officers, can't do the job. Apparently they can't do the job because all these incidents. We got to come in and we got to take care of this for.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that I want to say that we talked about previously on the last podcast show, and especially when we spoke about it with Muslims for Humanity with brother
Kabir.
Yeah, was that it's still a need for us to begin to become police officers and police ourselves. It's funny, and if we did the statistics on it, you rarely see incidents that make the news where there's a black cop who's killing a black man unwarranted or unjustly. And I just feel like when you dealing with these neighborhoods that's high percentage, 70, 80, 90% black or Latino, you need to have black or Latino faces policing that neighborhood. I think we speak a different language to each other, and somehow or another we can talk to each other and try to fight crime in a way where, people that are dying, not saying that anybody deserves to die, but your punishment at that moment, at that time, I guess would somehow or another fit the action that was done. Gus, I'm real disappointed in America. I'm disappointed in a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. And I won't say it's being swept under the rug, but after so many incidents, when is some attention from the government going to pay attention to it and try to rectify what's going on?
It comes back to what we were just talking about. What can they do? I mean, this is a local police force. We have set it up to where basically all a person has to do is say, I was fearful for my life. That's all they have to say.
But then
so they're not breaking the law. Like, the government has to come in and say, you're doing something wrong. But if they shoot somebody and say, hey, I fear for my life, that's totally legal.
Well, I don't think it's legal because, they putting the dash cams on here. They putting cams on the officers now. Like, you have to show per this video. Like, of course, there's never no video evidence that can reveal the feelings that you had of being fearful. But the video can reveal whether this perpetrator or alleged perpetrator made an action or did something that would incite a feeling of fear inside the officer or fear for his life and his safety. It can't be, I got my hands up and I'm complying to every directive and you shoot me.
I mean, it seems like that's what it is. It's, you flinch. It's over for you. Like, I think I read on the internet and it made me think about the fact that citizens are held in a higher regard than police officers. Okay. And I say it like this. As a citizen, if a group of cops come with guns, even if there's one cop with a gun, mm-hmm. you are expected to comply with all the commands in a calm manner.
Yeah.
So, cop comes, pointing his guns at you. You need to be calm and comply, right? Mm-hmm. A cop, on the other hand, a cop can't deal with you making a sudden gesture move.
I don't agree with what they're saying, but I understand it in some cases, and I think we talked about it before, like when you being pulled up, being a police officer, one of the most stressful jobs in America. Being a teacher is a stressful job as well. And you dealing with situations where with a police officer at any given time, your safety and your life is at stake. And also on top of that, when you come to a scene especially if the scene is a hostile scene or it's being sent out over the dispatch that is hostile. When you come there, you're coming there to suppress the scene and get control of the scene. You start giving demands and your demands aren't followed or your directives aren't followed. I guess, I got to assume that it's some training that officers get in order, and, crowd control, de-escalation techniques and things like that. And if you in a situation where you have to control that crowd, then you really thinking about what do you do to control that crowd? What do you do to get them under control?
But these instances aren't crowds. This is a lot of times it's just one person.
Mm-hmm.
We got the guy in Tulsa, just like 5 cops, all with their weapons drawn. The white chick, there's a helicopter with police officers in it. She has 4 other cops with her. Why is she so terrified? I'm just saying. Personally, I'm thinking, if me and my homies, it's 4 of us with guns, and there's one dude with no weapon, would you be scared?
I mean, for me personally, I probably wouldn't be scared because I feel like I have the proper support. And on top of that, I wouldn't do the job if I was scared to do the job, So I feel like I would be in a good position. But I do think, with the scarcity of people wanting to be police officers because of the pay, because of the mandated hours, because of everything that come with it, sometimes you get people that maybe on paper they're qualified, but mentally and just with their heart wise and spiritually wise, they're not fit to do the job. So she could have been there, or any officer could have been there with 100 officers, and they're the one that's scared for their life. They're the one that's going to shoot. Am I saying it makes it right? No. But what I am saying is this motherfucker ain't qualified for the job. And it's no simulation or no practice or no training you could put somebody into that's going to make them that fearful for their life and force them to be under some control. You understand what I'm saying? And then you see how they react, and then it's time to be like, well, he's not fit for this because he can't handle the. I think it's a culmination of things. Gus, at the end of the day, you see power on my mind. I'm calling you Ghost and shit. But
if I was Ghost, I wouldn't be doing a podcast.
If you was Ghost, you wouldn't be light skinned. So you really like Tommy, and I'm really Ghost. Well, no, I'm not Ghost neither because I ain't a rat. So, and you're not a rat neither. So none of us is Ghost. It's like Tommy and dark skinned Tommy, I guess.
Well, I mean, Kanan's not a bad character other than the fact he be on that syrup.
He got character flaws, but that's a whole
other than kill his kid. But other than that, But back to the story, to the subject at hand. But yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, bro, like I just think that we just got a lot of people that's not qualified to do this job. I mean, I think part of the problem is, even if I ain't gonna debate whether they're qualified or not, but I think maybe the bigger issue is there's no repercussions for the actions.
That's right. It's no real checks and balances. It's not.
Like, I mean, let's be honest. If this chick was scared, didn't follow orders, I mean, what she's going to do? A couple years at the worst. I mean, and compared to a dead person, that's really not. I don't call that repercussions.
I don't. Yeah, me neither. I don't. And then it's going to be a wrongful death suit. The family's going to come up some money, but I'm quite sure they would trade all that money back to have their child's fathers back and their loved one back.
Man, I mean, I hate to say it, man. I think I don't know. Maybe we got to get back to some old-fashioned justice. Because, I mean, I don't know. It's like, for me, and I hate to say it, man, but I don't hate to say it. I'll be honest with you. I don't care who you are, what uniform you got on. If you take one of mine, I'm going to take one of yours. And I'm not advocating anybody doing anything. But if someone was actually fearful that if I kill this person, I might have to face the same ending.
Yep.
They might think different.
They don't have a choice because now you understand that you're going to pay with your life if you take this man's life or this woman's life wrongly.
And I mean, honestly, I don't know, maybe this is too old school thinking. Like, even with these cops, these young bulls raping chicks and getting off, like, It's like nothing happening to these people. Like what
Nothing at all.
like where the dads at? Where they cousins at? Where they family at? You got these young boys getting off for raping chicks. Yo, if it ever happened to me, yo, you don't have to send the boy to jail for 10 years. It's gonna be better if you don't, because I'm gonna find him, and I'm dead serious. Like, it's sad, man, that you got this what's the Trayvon Martin dude? What's his name?
Zimmerman.
This dude's still walking around. All these black people, all these rappers that was talking all this shit.
I mean, you know, but that's another thing that bothers me about us, was because like somebody could kill in the hood, somebody could kill your cousin back in like 1992, and you'll see him in 2022, and at worst he'll get his ass beat for killing your cousin in 92. But I'm quite sure it's people who see Zimmerman every day that don't run up on Zimmerman and give Zimmerman no smoke. And I'm not even saying that Zimmerman can fight. I don't know nothing about Zimmerman. But I'm just saying, if you that outraged, then when you see Zimmerman out and about, how come Zimmerman doesn't experience any street justice? You understand what I'm saying? Like the young guy, the young Caucasian male who killed those people in the church.
Somebody gave him some work.
Oh yeah, apparently his cellie in the jail gave him some street justice. He answered to some street justice, and
then he had like a GoFundMe that got him enough bail money to get out of jail.
The crazy thing is, I don't even understand how he get out of jail for.
Nah, the black boy.
Oh,
that
okay.
punched him in the mouth.
Oh, he didn't want to punch him in the mouth. He like really beat him down. You know, like at the end of the day, Gus, like, you know, the conversation and the question is, you know, are these African Americans being killed because of systematic racism, to where the system is geared for white officers to kill the black man? I'm personally am a believer that it's not so much systematic racism. Like, I do believe this. I do believe when the founding fathers of the United States of America wrote the Constitution, the black man was not considered, and the rights of the black man was not considered in this Constitution, because the black man during those times didn't have any rights. I agree with that for wholeheartedly. But what I will say is, you know, so when they wrote those rights, were those rights targeted at not giving black people rights, or were those laws written in the regard of, you know, the black people that we got as slaves will never be free, so we don't have to write any rules that involve them, or they'll probably revolt and go back to Africa or something like that when we're done with them. We don't have to gear our rules to them. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, some people might listen to this and be like, yo, that's just pure ignorance. But I really want to not give people so much brain power that they were able to see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years down the line, that when they make these rules up today, it's going to affect how black people are treated now. Like, I really want to believe that they never had any inclination that the rights the freedoms that black people have right now, that we would have them in the United States at this time. And
partially, I think they just didn't give a fuck. I mean,
that
honestly,
as well. But
like,
why would you? If we put ourselves in their shoes, if we put ourselves in their shoes, and we're ruling the country, and white people are our slaves, when we make the rules and the norms for this new society we're building, why are they included?
I mean, it makes sense if you're the ruling class and you have slaves. I mean,
yeah, like why would we include them? They're not included. So now that we have all these rights, and we're saying, oh, it's systematic racism. They built the system to not be geared to us. No, the system just was not for us. It wasn't like they said, black people are free, let's make all the rights for ourselves and fuck them. They said, no, fuck the slaves. This is for us. You understand what I'm saying? So now I bring it forward. You know, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, in his book, Nobody, and if you don't have that, y'all should pick it up. He made a great quote. He said, it's a lot of people running around that's saying the system is broken. Let's fix it. But then he says, but instead, what we should be saying is the system is working. Let's break it. And the understanding I took from that is that if the system was never geared for us, then how do we complain that it was only, how do we say things like the system was made to hold us down? No, the system never factored us in, and it's working.
I mean, I think the system is definitely working.
Yeah.
Because you have the people in power that's in power.
Yeah.
You have
and
the
they're
police
the safest.
Who are the overseers.
Yes.
They're allowed to kill and get away with it.
Yes.
They keep us in check.
Yes.
So it seems to be working.
Yes.
We have a was it the school to prison pipeline?
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be freaking working.
Mm-hmm. Now, I believe that that's built under systematic racism, but I also feel like that's built under money as well. Because if you go into, if a Caucasian male lives in an urban area and he is caught up in, the juvenile penal system, they're shipping him up the same way they're shipping those black kids up.
Well, I think as far as that, I don't think it's particularly racism.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
classism.
I think it's exploiting a particular group of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think they would take advantage of Chinese people
if Chinese people fit that demographic. I do.
If Chinese people acted like black people and did not, unite,
mm-hmm.
work together,
mm-hmm.
build their own, sub economies as
mm-hmm.
Chinese people do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see Chinese
as
people,
Latino people do too. Hispanic and Latino Americans too.
You never see, I never see a Chinese person riding around in a Ford.
And if you do, it's probably the truck that they're transporting their goods in.
They support each other.
Yeah.
So they find the weakest demographic and they exploit it. And unfortunately, a large portion of the black population fall into that category.
Yeah.
We get shot in the street,
mm-hmm.
and let's be honest, nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
We talk a lot of shit, and
mm-hmm.
we don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
What do? We riot, we cry, we make
mm-hmm.
some hashtags.
Destroy our own neighborhood. We curse and act a donkey on social media regarding what we upset about. But one thing when we did our last podcast show and Mr. Disgruntled was speaking, I think the best thing that he ever said was, what's the action plan? We know what the problem is. We know, what's not working or what is working to ill effect. What is the action plan to correct it? What is the corrective action plan? And if we're not looking to create a proactive action plan, then all we doing is being reactive with our anger and our social media posts. And then as soon as the next Beyonce concert happens or the next Bad Boy reunion concert happens, no one's worried about the quote unquote plight of our people.
I mean, I think part of the problem is, and I might have the same problem myself. It's like you would think people would have enough sense to be like, you know what? I'm gonna stop shooting people. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not, if he doesn't have a weapon, I'm not going to shoot him. Mm-hmm. And we kind of have the same passive type of stance when it comes to, inner city neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sooner or later, if we talk to the dope boys enough, they're going to stop shooing each other.
Or they'll at least think about it.
You know what I mean? And it never happens. We do a little march down the street.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little neighborhood watch.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, how long does this neighborhood watch actually last?
Doesn't last too long, because 1 minute your neighborhood watching, then the next minute you walking around with a shirt on and your kids walking around with a shirt on that say no snitching. So what the hell are you really watching if you're not going to help protect and serve the neighborhood? I mean, and it all comes back to, and for the people that's listening, I'm not victim blaming. I'm not blaming the victim. I'm not blaming the victim's race. But what I am saying is this: 1 + 1 = 2 all the time. A certain action and a certain reaction. If it's 1 + 1, then it always going to equal the same number every time. And my whole thing is, at what time do we use the power that we do got, You know, they call us the consumer class because we're known for just spending our money. But what if we put all that money into one entity and strengthened our money and then made it to where we as a people are supporting politicians who are pushing our agenda? We're becoming police officers. We're not spending our money at the local Puerto Rican stores and Chinese stores, but instead we're opening stores and having our people support our stores, spend food stamps in our stores. You understand what I'm saying? Then we putting ourselves in a position to be successful. And I just feel like in a world where we're in a capitalist country that we live in, that means that money is everything. Money equates to your power. Power equates to your money, however you want to say it. If we're the class that's always spending money, then we're always giving our power to the other races. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean,
like, am I making sense a little bit?
Definitely making sense. I mean, I think that might be the only silver lining in all this, is I actually do see people taking notice of the fact that we have to have our own economy, support our own people, because it's at this point, it's week after week that we're reminded. You know, previously, you know, you had your Rodney Kings, you had, you know, your other high profile police brutality cases.
Yeah.
But now it's like week after week. It's just, you know, you can't avoid it. So, you know, it's always in your mind, like, you know what? I am going to support that brother. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because the man over there don't care about me. And, you know, what's sad for me is the fact that I don't interact with racist white people. You know, I mean, I guess they could be closeted racist, but, I tend to interact with real cool white people. And it's kind of like, you know, and sometimes on the fence, like, yo, I want to be like super pro black, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I ain't got no issue with white people. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I don't mind supporting my Caucasian brother because he's cool peoples. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I honestly, Gus, like, I feel the same way. Like, I got some white fraternity brothers. I got some white people that I'm super duper cool with, and I would never want those white people to think that I feel the same way about them that I feel about the racist white people that I believe is attempting to hold my people down and do dirty shit to my people. You know, and sometimes you feel bad talking around them when we get on the topics like this, because you know how black people do. We'll getting around each other. We'll start talking about females. The next thing you know, we going into rappers. The next thing you know, we going into politics, money, and racist white people. You know, all in one sitting, all in 1 hour of conversation. And the thing is, I never want a white person that I call brother and a white person that I love to think that when I speak about white people in the way I'm speaking about them, that they're included in that conversation. But it's fucked up, but your race does this to my race.
Sometimes I'm at a loss, right? Because, you know, I want to get the Black Lives Matters t-shirts. You know, I want to get the Malcolm X hat. Like you said, I don't want to be putting off that perception that I dislike white people.
True.
You know, and it's not like, and I don't want to go around and be like, fuck what they think. You know what I mean? These is my neighbors. These is cool peoples. You know, I talk to people I work with. And, you know, I'm pretty sure there's some things that I would deem as, you know, anti-black that they might do. And I wouldn't want to see that. You know what I mean? It might be somebody who is not racist that for some reason likes the Confederate flag. You know what I mean? And I want to be able to give them the benefit of the doubt. And, you know, I just try to, I guess, get back to my point. I don't know if I'm being a sucker because I'm not wearing this type of stuff. Because I don't want to be perceived as disliking white people.
I mean, I understand it too. Like, I went to Malcolm X Shabazz High School. I grew up in the Nation of Islam. So, I mean, I have a different love for Malcolm X. When I wear Malcolm X anything, I wouldn't want a white person to get offended. Like, because I'm pro Malcolm X, I'm anti-white people. You know, I'm just pro Malcolm X because I love Malcolm X. You know, I don't look at things like that. If I have a Black Lives Matter shirt or a I Can't Breathe shirt or whatever the new hashtag is that comes out that's in support of, you know, black people not dying at the hands of our protectors, or our supposed protectors. You know, if I wear one of those shirts, that's not to offend white people, but it is to show unison with my people. And I shouldn't be made to feel bad that I'm in unison with my people when I'm around people that's not my people.
Like in my case, I wonder, like if I say my people, right, my community, but if I live in an area that's 80% white, is really my community the 80% white people, as opposed to, you know, the black community as a whole? You know, you follow me?
I think that when you say your people, I mean, we talking about your race and the race of people you belong to. I mean, your community is your people too. And you know, where you raising your kids at, if your kids play with the neighbor's kids, whether they white, black, Latino, Asian, whatever race, I mean, that's part of your community. And I'm assuming and I'm hoping that a Asian mom, if you saw her kid running in the street and you grabbed his little ass up and took him home before he got hit by a car, she would be thankful that you did so. You understand what I'm saying? The same way if Billy Bob, who's your neighbor, that's a white guy, saw one of your baby girls running in the street in some danger and he snatched her little ass up and brought her home, you're not thinking, hey, you racist white prick, why are you grabbing my fucking daughter? You're like, hey, Billy Bob, thank you. I really appreciate you for protecting my loved one. You understand what I'm saying? So I never want to confuse that with, you know, incidents of a white person just working in one of those tough jobs where, you know, I hate to make excuses, but they just working in one of those jobs and working in those environments to where, like, you have to be thick skinned and you have to be able to make the best decision in a split second that you don't take somebody's life whose life didn't need to be taken, you know, and you don't ruin a family. Understood that you want to get home to your family, but you're not ruining someone else's family with a bad split decision that you made out of fear.
I don't know, man. I guess the only thing we do, man, is maybe change the training, man. I mean,
it's definitely got to be some change in training. I do believe that.
I have to believe these people ain't just looking like, man, fuck this nigga, I'm shooting. Like, I have to believe like this is not going through their head. You know what I mean? I've seen the video of the guy shooting a black guy in the back though.
I mean,
I think he said it, but
I'm gonna be always honest. That same guy that where we saw the black man was running and the white officer shot him in the back and gunned him down, that guy's in jail for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, it was no way you was going to get away with that. I mean, some things are questionable, even in the black community. Some people won't admit it when we have these conversations amongst ourselves about certain situations that could have been avoided, that, you know, the pride and ego and hubris of some people in our community, you know, led for them to put a situation where they gambled their life thoughtlessly. You understand what I'm saying? But for the most part, I just think it's just unqualified people working in a position to where, you know, they're just making very terrible and poor decisions in those split seconds, and someone's losing their life because of it. And somebody has to pay for that. You know, do I think they need to go to jail for life? I don't know about jail for life unless we can prove that it was outright malicious, outright did him dirty, did this man dirty for no fucking reason. You took his life and his life shouldn't have been taken. You should lose your badge. You shouldn't be allowed to work in law enforcement any longer, you know, and, you know, depending on the situation, it should be some jail time. You know, it's 10 years equal to losing somebody's life. I think for a 35-year-old officer, 10 years in jail away from your family, 10 years away from society, 10 years locked up in the same prisons with the people that you put away, and you have to fear for your life every morning on the wake up. I do think that's equivalent. And then when you come home, can you work in law enforcement? Can you be in those situations again? No, you can't. Let's see you start your life from the beginning.
Yeah, man. I definitely agree. To switch subjects a little bit, I'm really getting sick and tired of other black people just pushing aside the fact that we need to fix our own community.
Yeah, that's what they say. They always, when you say
it got nothing to do, it definitely has something
a lot to do with it. It has a lot to, Gus, because when you say that police racially profile us, why do they racially profile us?
Doing dumb shit.
That's it. That's it. I mean, let's just take it with the traffic stops, Gus. If you own a car with rims and tinted windows, it's a good chance you're going to get pulled over, whether you're a dope boy or not. You're not getting the benefit of the doubt on running a yellow light. You're not getting the benefit of the doubt of a stop sign or anything. Why? Because racially, you're fitting the profile of a drug dealer.
I ain't gonna lie. That's why I never had. Let's see, I had 10, but I never had like big rims on my car. Not because I was, selling drugs, but it was because I used to like to smoke a little bit in the car. So I'm like, if I'm doing a little smoke in the car, and it's more likely for me to get pulled over if I got this tint and these rims
because I'm bringing attention to myself.
And no, I don't got no weight or no. Real drugs in the car.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to jail for smoking in the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, maybe if I wasn't doing nothing at all, I'd be like, I get the rims in the tent because when they pull me over, ain't nothing they can do.
But even with the hassle of that, like my grandmother and my mother always used to say, when you hang on the corner with the dope boys, if you not selling dope, then why the fuck you on the corner? Because you are going to the police are going to treat you like the dope boys when they run down on the corner. If you out here and you dress like the gangbangers, you better be gang banging because you're going to get treated as if you're gang banging.
Might as well, huh?
So you might as well either get in the mix or change your outfit. So the thing I say by that is it's the same thing with everything. Like if you're going to drive around in a drug dealer's car, and I ain't saying if you got a BMW, it's a drug dealer's car. I'm just saying
if you got a Crown Vic.
If you got a car that motherfucking it looks like it's a big fancy car, but yet you not trying to fishbowl. You don't want nobody to know who's in there, but you do want all the attention to yourself because it's a big fancy car. It got big rims on it. You're bringing that attention to yourself. Are you getting the attention of the ladies who's standing at the bus stop or they boyfriend don't got no car? Yeah, but you also getting the attention of the police officers, dickhead. And sooner or later, y'all have a run-in. Even if it's a traffic citation, you're going to have a run-in. So my thing is, we do all these things to ourselves to some extent.
This is like the only time I'll say it. I'll probably never say it again. Like a lot of times we talk about, white people do the same amount of drugs that black people do.
Maybe more.
And the cops never harass them about drugs. And it's like we know, but we don't like to talk about it. The difference is white people be in the house smoking drugs. Mm-hmm. White people be in the house dealing drugs. Mm-hmm. Black people be on the corner, in the open.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I just think that got everything to do with the neighborhoods. Like, you live in the urban setting, you live in the projects, or you live in one of those fast-paced neighborhoods, the drug demand is high. And people are walking from blocks over, and people are coming from over, and you sit in the house and wait for a sale. The person who's outside done stole that sale before they ever knocked on your door. So then it forces you to come outside. So now you in the middle of the block, but everybody on the corner is taking all the sales before they ever get to the middle of the block. So now you got to take your talents to the corner. Now you got to bang shoulders and step on toes with the grimies just to make your little $50, $60, $70, $80 an hour, or however that money flowing through there. You understand what I'm saying?
So is it the cops' fault that all y'all standing outside and y'all easier to target?
No,
I mean, are they really racially profiling, or are they just going to the place where the dumbasses are right outside?
I don't want to call it racial profiling. I just want to say they're going to where the drug traffic is at. If a cop can sit 2 blocks away and see people who visibly look like drug users coming to this block all the time, and there's 10 to 15 people standing on the corner, they playing music, they talking shit, they laughing, they walking into the back of these houses or walking to this car and then coming out and giving this person a handshake, and then that person's walking off, and then that same person's coming back 10 minutes later to get the same handshake they just got 10 minutes ago. I mean, they not stupid. They're not stupid. Like, we sell dope and we think we the smartest motherfuckers on the block. No, we not the smartest motherfuckers. They just as smart as us to some extent. So, I mean, all of that plays a part into the profiling. All of that plays a part into how they see us, how they view us, and how they deal with us. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, the part that just kills me the most, you know, is some of the wounds that we have are self-inflicted. So then when somebody else gives us a wound, this motherfucker did this. But goddamn, Tyreek just did the same shit and y'all ain't doing nothing about it.
It's like a nigga with 49 lashes on his back. Want to get mad because the one person gave him the 50th. Nigga, you got 49 other you got 49 other scars. I mean,
and I can understand it's expected that when you in the game, a drug dealer or somebody that's in the game with you is going to rob you or shoot you or kill you. And I do understand that it's not expected that this officer of the law that's hired to protect and serve is going to kill you. That's not the expectation. But in the same token, when police deal with us, the expectation is that we're hostile and confrontational. And in a split second, if we get the opportunity, we either going to run or we going to try to bust your ass.
I think the biggest issue is that, you know, I guess black people just want the same leeway that a white person has when he gets pulled over.
I agree. But I think the majority. Well, I'm sorry, Gus, to cut you off, bro. But I think when you think about it, if we took a straw poll of officers, the majority of white people they pull over, even if they're frustrated and upset about being pulled over, that white person is doing everything just to get that incident over with. They're not doing anything to go back and forth with that officer and prolong that situation. They're getting their ticket and they're cussing the officer out as they're driving off with the ticket. With us, why the fuck is you pulling me over? No, I didn't run the red light. Clearly you ran the red light. No, my seatbelt was on. I just took my seatbelt off when you walked up. No, your seatbelt wasn't on. Just
take this ticket.
Just take the ticket and fight it where it's supposed to be fought. Like, I know an organization that teaches young kids, white, black, Puerto Rican, whatever. They got it's one of their 6 keys to success. And it says accept confrontation, right or wrong, weak or strong. And what that's basically saying is, if this police officer pulls you over, right here, right now, at this moment is not where you fight the ticket. You accept this redirection, you accept this ticket, and you move on. The ticket clearly says guilty or not guilty. It clearly says, do you want to show up in traffic court or any type of court to fight this ticket? Take your fight to the courtroom. Let the judge decide if you're guilty. Because if you continue this on the streets, then we run into a lot of dumb situations. And then some of it, like I said, is just scary asshole cops that's pulling the trigger. And what can we do about that, Gus? What can we do about it? We can argue that the police need to train their police officers better. But you know, how many of us that's arguing that the police need to train their officers better is going to go and become police officers? Who's going to take their job?
I mean, I guess they can turn around and be like, we need to train our children better.
Yeah.
Train our people better.
Yeah. If you're not going to become a police officer to police your people, then you have to go to the root of the problem. And, you know, as much as you say I shouldn't have to teach my child that when police approach them, it's on a different level than when police approach white people. But regardless of how much you feel that you shouldn't have to teach your kids that, I'm sorry, mom and dad, you have to teach your kids that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man, but you know, it's starting to get to the point where, I mean, cats is getting shot even when they're complying. I think that's the worst part. You know,
that is the worst part.
Like, and you know,
but you know, I'm gonna tell you something though. I'm in those instances. I'm not saying that the victim is at any fault at all. If you're complying and you still get shot, the onus of that incident is on the police officer. Period. It's on him.
Yeah, I guess those particular instances are few and far between. So
I just think the biggest thing, Gus, is that we got to do a better job of protecting us and protecting our own. If nobody's going to protect us and protect our own, then we need to protect us and protect our own. And it doesn't need to be a lesson of how to react. It needs to be a lesson of being proactive. You understand what I'm saying? If we doing everything that we need to do to keep ourselves out of harm's way, fuck, I shouldn't have to. I should be allowed to make mistakes. I should be allowed to do this and do that and not have to fear for my life. Yeah, you shouldn't, but that's not what we dealing with. And during the times of like Jim Crow laws and like the early 60s and 50s and shit like that, we had to train our young adults to know what they can and can't get away with, because these motherfuckers will try to kill you. Well, I'm sorry, and I hate to say that we've regressed and we back in those times, but unless you sleeping under a rock, we're obviously back at those times.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we came up with any fucking solutions.
I mean, for me, I think my biggest solution is I'm going to raise my kids to understand, how to humble themselves or quote unquote stand down and do whatever needs to be done to get out of that situation. Do whatever you need to do to get home. And if it calls for us to fight a ticket or fight how you was dealt, we'll fight it in the court of law. We'll fight it with our lawyer. We'll take the due process route. And if we lose it during the due process route and we lose it during certain precautions that we're doing, then it's time for us to rethink if this is a neighborhood or this is a city that we want to live in, to where we can't even get any justice in this city.
I mean, I guess you got to look at it like, any violation you get, it's only going to be a couple $100.
Mm-hmm. And I'm quite sure, yeah. And I'm quite sure anybody would say that little couple $100 ain't worth your life. You'll pay that $100 40, 50 times over if it means you gonna wake up and see your kids another day.
Shit, your family gonna pay that, 20, 30 times over, when they gotta pay for your funeral.
Pretty much. So I think at the end of the day, Gus, I think the biggest thing, to bring this all to an end game, I think that the biggest thing that we saying to everybody is that, we're not justifying any of these killings. These black men, the black women were killed wrongly and unjustly. They were. And it was to no fault of their own. But at what time, I'm going to say, like, if we're going to blame the system, then we can't ask the system to work for us. We have to break the system and rework the system to work for us.
I think I'm definitely working with a different cahoots next time we talk about something like this, because you got me all speaking intelligently and I want to be mad, man. I want to be like.
I want to be mad too. But sometimes
I want to yell and not make no damn sense.
Me too. But I mean, we educated black men, and I just think that it's no need to displace our hate. It's no need to displace our rage. We put the rage on the person that deserves our rage. I'm not going to blame a whole fucking race for something one racist dickhead did or some scared dickhead did. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to tell my brother that I don't love you because someone of your race did some bullshit to somebody of my race. I'm going to tell my brother, bro, I love you, but that shit is some bullshit. And you know what I expect to hear from my brother? That shit is some bullshit. Fuck that racist prick.
Yeah, man. I think, man,
Gus, I think we dealt with it. I think
we went a little bit longer than we were supposed to.
Yeah, I think we got some good conversation out of this, man. Everybody that's listening, give us some feedback. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us some points that you feel as though we made that was strong. Tell us some points that you think we might have missed. Also, don't forget to listen to us every Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. on Big Bad Radio, Stay Talking Ish internet radio show. You know what I mean? With me and Gus, Stay Talking Ish podcast show. Check us out, man. Thank y'all for listening.
Don't forget staytalkingish.com.
That's right.
Stay Talking Ish on, at Stay Talking Ish on Twitter.
Yeah.
And
Instagram,
Facebook page
yeah.
blowing up.
Yeah. Listen, man, we out here and we trying to grow for the people and the culture. We always going to try to stay connected to current events, but add our flair to it. Just remember that our unprofessionalism is the professionalism of this show.
Because Barksdale be acting a donkey on the radio show.
You already know.
Peace.
Peace.